Hi, I am back with a writing exercise that I'm really excited about. Many of you have your students write tall tales throughout the year, especially in like grades 3 and 4. And if you do, I'm sure that you read them, Johnny Appleseed stories and Paul Bunyan, and a lot of things like that. And I am hoping that this year you will add this book and this story to your reading list. It's called Bing's Cherries. It just came out this year, and it is an imagining of what a tall tale would look like for the man who created the cherries, the Bing cherries. We don't know much about him. His name was Ah Bing. He was an immigrant from China, and mostly what we know about him, you can read about it in the back of the book. The few things we know about him, we know he had 7 adopted children back in China. We know that he came over here to work in the cherry orchards, and that he developed, the seed that he planted the seed and developed the seed that became the Bing cherries that we love so much. And we know that he was very tall and that he loved to sing. And that's kind of what we know. And so the author of this book, Olivia Blackburn, words by her, and the art is by Julia Kuo. They worked together to imagine what the tall tale for him would look like. And so they imagined him as very tall, so tall that when he immigrated over here on a boat, that he stepped out and he picked up a dog from the surf and he just blew on it and it dried, right? And so tall that one of his strands of hair was long enough to build a whole nest, right? And so tall that he didn't need a ladder to get to the top of the trees. He could just stand and climb, and that it was his songs that he sang about how much he missed his homeland and his children that created this delicious cherry. And it was this idea that that they could create their own tall tale for their own people. And it's a really, like I said, it's a really beautiful book, really beautiful imagining. And I liked this idea of saying, look, we don't know much about this person, but why don't we turn them into our own tall tale hero? That's how it works, right? These people are based in a little bit of truth, and then we create this whole mythology around them. And so I love that idea of you would read this book to them and you read the back and you're like, this is what we know. And now we're going to create a myth out of them. And so the writing exercise that you're going to do with your students is you are going to have them create a tall tale about themselves. And you're going to think, what would people know about you that they could then mythologize? And you're going to talk about the writing tool, the writing strategy of hyperbole. Okay. And so you're going to talk about what are a few of your traits that what people would talk about and that they could then mythologize and hyperbolize, right? Really, really build up. Sorry, we got kids. Evie, be nice, Annie. Maybe just go away for a bit. She's kind of cranky. And so you'd have them think about that for a little bit, and then, I'm sorry, Annie. So I have a worksheet for them to work through this, to think about what is like one of my traits that people would talk about when they would talk about me. Oh, she was really tall. Or, oh, she had really stinky shoes. And they can be silly. Or, oh, she was really good at soccer. Or, oh, he was so funny. Whatever the trait is that they want to focus on, that they'd be like, this is what people would talk about with me. And then you will talk about, okay, now let's hyperbolize that. If you were to take that to like the superhuman element, okay, make that as big as it is, what would that look like? Okay. And now the next step of that is, if you were to take that to the superhuman element, how could it affect the nature around you? Because that is what a tall tale does, is that this superhuman ability that they have, this superhuman hyperbolized trait, somehow changes, the natural world. And so you're going to make them think about like what are 2 or 3 scenes, ways that you can show that it like helps people or nature around them, like drying the dog off, or being able to pick the tops of the cherry trees without climbing a ladder, things like that. So you're going to have them show that, and then you're going to say, okay, what is the big change that you make? Like being able to defeat a company in a race through the mountain, right? Different things. And so, what is the big change that you are then going to make? Are you going to plant the entire countryside with apple seeds? Are you going to make a new cherry tree that everyone's going to love? What is the change that you are going to make in the world? So that is the big thing that the hero does. And then what is the moral of the story? What is the thing you're going to leave readers with? Is there a piece of wisdom that you're always going to say? Is there something that you want readers to learn? And so I have a worksheet that they're going to work through to brainstorm all of this out. And then after they've figured all that out, they can write it as a story. And what I really love about this is the way it brings humanity into this writing project, into this writing process, is that it's very self-reflective for them to think about it in this way of kind of tying themselves into it. And it makes it just a little bit more fun to think about, like, what would people think about me? And what would people remember about me? And I think that adds just a little bit more of a fun element to it. So I highly recommend, even if you don't do the writing exercise, please go get this book, Being's Cherries by Olivia Blackburn.